showing you that they still exist today. Let's go. We're going to Daniel now. We're going to Daniel, the 11th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 36. Daniel 11 and 36. Go ahead and read it.
And the king shall do according to his will. And he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god.
Now, you know, who is it? What we talking about? We're still talking about this abomination of desolation, which was spoken of by Daniel the prophet. You see what the book called him? Called him a king. And you know, like I said, I don't want to talk about nobody and nothing like that or offend nobody. But if you look at the Pope, he is a king. They got their country within a country. And he is a king. He said, and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself. Now we're reading about the Pope. He have already exalted himself. And like I said, once he gets United States in his back pocket, which he already has, then the whole world will follow suit. But the ones that understand this, we're not going to be following them, are we? And we're not following them now, are we? Because we don't gather together and keep the Lord's Sabbath on the first day of the week, do we? All those other people that's gathering on the first day of the week call themselves following God. Who they really following after? The Pope, which he is the workers of who? Satan. Now, ain't you know what? I guess I'm just gonna have to offend somebody today. I guess I mean, you know, I can't get around it. I'm trying, but I just can't get around it. Go ahead and read, brother. Read that verse again. Verse 36. Go ahead.
And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself.
Go ahead.
And magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods.
Now we read that earlier in Thessalonians, didn't we? Go ahead and read.
And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished.
Go ahead.
For that is determined shall be done.
For that is determined, it shall be done. And this is going to be done. You know, you could go and put your head in the sand like an ostrich if you want to, but this is coming. Because when you put your head in the sand, he's going to beat that body up. Yes. You understand? So you better pay attention to this. Verse 37, go ahead.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of woman, nor regard any God.
Go ahead.
For he shall magnify himself above all.
He's going to magnify himself above all. Because you know right now the Pope is calling himself Pontificus Maximus. I am the supreme ruler on the earth. I am the ruler of the Mother Church. And Jesus, he's a ruler in heaven. But he don't understand though. Jesus ruling this whole world. He's ruling this whole world. And he's going to come back and claim this world too. And that's what the memorial blowing of the trumpet is all about, right? But that's but we're showing you what's going to happen and what the children of Israel must do and the servants of God must do in order to avoid this one. In order to avoid the great tribulations. Go ahead and read.
38. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces. And a God whom his fathers knew not shall be honored with gold.
Go ahead.
And silver, and with precious stones, and pleasant things.
Go ahead.
Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory.
Go ahead.
And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for grain.
Now what land is he going to divide for gain? We're talking about the Holy Land. He's going to divide that, because remember he said he's going to set up the tabernacles in the glorious land. Go ahead and read.
And at that time of the end shall the king of the south push at him. And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over.
Go ahead.
He shall enter also into the glorious land.
And he shall enter into the glorious land. Go ahead.
And many countries shall be overthrown.
Now look at who's going to be overthrown. Go ahead.
But these shall escape out of his land.
But these shall escape out of his hand. Who is that?
Even Edom.
Oh, wait a minute. Ain't that Edom? The Edom we just read about over in Numbers that wouldn't let the children of Israel cross through their land? Who else?
And Moab.
Did we just read about Moab? Now we're looking at end time prophecy right here. And the Lord telling you about Edom, Moab, and who else?
And the chief of the children of Ammon.
And the chief of the children of Ammon. These people still exist today. Go ahead and read.
He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries. And the land of Egypt shall not escape.
Go ahead.
But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver and over all the precious things of Egypt.
Y'all better watch out, Egypt, because he's coming for you. And he's going to take all of your possessions. Go ahead and read.
And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall
look
be
at
at his
him.
steps.
Look at him. He's going to get, he's coming at the Libyans and the Ethiopians, right, shall be at his steps. Go ahead.
But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him.
Now here come Russia and their allies now, which is going to trouble him. Go ahead and read.
Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many.
Go ahead.
And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain.
Stop right there. He's going to plant his tabernacle of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Where are we talking about? We're talking about Jerusalem, aren't we? Well, when you shall therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand. You better understand this. And he shall plant the tabernacle of the palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Go ahead.
Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him.
But look, he's going to do some damage first before he comes to his end. Let's go back to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter again. 2 Thessalonians, 2nd chapter, because he said he's going to come to his end, didn't he? But where the children of Israel going to be at this time? Where the service of God going to be when all of this is going on? Let's go now. Let's go read about him again. Let's go back to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter again. And this time we're going to pick up at verse 5. Because it said he's going to come to his end. So we understand what's going to happen if from the beginning, in the middle, and the end when it comes to this guy. Don't we? But most of your people, most of the people that call themselves Christians and Muslims and all this Hindu, they are oblivious unto this. And we are looking right at this. We're looking right at it. We are 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know that withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time.
Now he's being revealed to you today. He's being revealed to you today. Go ahead and read.
For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who know letteth him let. Until he be taken out of the way.
Go ahead.
And then shall that wicked be revealed.
Then shall that wicked be revealed. Go ahead.
Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
And he's going to destroy this one with the brightness of coming. Remember, he's going to set up in the tabernacle. He's going to set up his tabernacle in this palace in the glorious land, right? But he's going to come to his end right there, though, isn't he? So now we read about the same time, right? He said, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Look at who he's working for. What's that next verse say?
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Ooh, you see who he working for? He working for Satan. He said even him. He didn't say even them, did he? You know, I got a brother keep talking about this is a group of people. No, this ain't no group of people we read about right here. Now, when you go down a little further, they start talking about a group of people. But this is talking about one individual right here. He said, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And this guy going to be doing all type of signs and showing all type of power. And people they're already following him now, right? But they're really going to be followed by the droves now, by the millions. The Catholic Church keep talking about they've always bragging about they got 1 billion people. It's going to be more than 1 billion people is going to be following him. Because he's going to do all these signs and lying wonders. Everybody going to be like, the Lord is with him. But they don't understand that he comes after the workings of Satan. It's right here in the book. So you can't get mad at me. Don't try to shut us down and all that stuff. Because we're reading the book. You got to get mad at Paul. Because he wrote it to the Thessalonians. We just read it. And God just happened to give us understanding where we can read this and understand it, right? Nothing that we did. It's just his grace and mercy that we understand this. Keep reading though. What verse you at?
Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. Because they receive.
Now he's talking about people now, a group of people that's working wickedness with this guy, that's following him. Read verse 10 again.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that
Now
perish.
he said in them, not him, in them. Now we're dealing with people now. Go ahead and read.
Because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Go ahead.
And for this cause God shall send them strong delusions, that they should believe a lie.
And if you believe you're going to heaven, God has sent you a strong delusion that you have believed a lie. Because remember we read earlier in Matthew 24th chapter and in 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter, let no man deceive you. So if you think that you're going to get raptured up, especially before great tribulation, you've really been deceived. You've been deceived. You think you're going to heaven, during great tribulations, you've really been deceived. You ain't going to heaven, the third heaven, at no time. And if you believe that, you have truly been deceived, and God has sent you a strong delusion that you will believe a lie. Because at no time is this man going to the third heaven. At no time. Verse 12.
That they all might be damned who believe not the truth.
Go ahead.
But have pleasure in unrighteousness.
Don't you know men have pleasure in this? That they going to heaven? They got pleasure in unrighteousness. They believe that they going to heaven. You know how people get it. You see them on TV, some of your friends even. Oh, Lord, I can't wait to get to heaven. God has sent them a strong delusion that they will believe a lie. It's sad, you understand, that people don't read the book. You understand? Then when somebody try to read it to them, that they just go off. You can't tell they get angry at you. I mean, all of us have experienced that happening. Yes. Our relatives, our friends, you understand, strangers we try to talk to, everybody gets upset at us. But those ones who believe that they going to heaven, they have been sent a strong delusion that they will believe a lie. Let's go to Daniel. Let's go to Daniel in the 12th chapter. So that's all we're doing is reading about the tribulation and before tribulation. But now we're going to start reading about what the children of Israel are going to go before tribulation. Contrary to popular belief, is not going to be no rapture before no tribulations. It's not going to be no rapture mid-tribulations neither. In fact, you don't see that. If you want to use the word rapture for caught up, okay, I don't have no problem with that. But that's going to happen after the tribulations, though. Let's go now. Let's go to Daniel, the 12th chapter. Daniel 12. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Because we're going to read about that time again. A time that has never been before and shall never be again. Daniel 12 and 1. And this is all over the book. And look how long great tribulations is going to last. Because we have been told, and people still believe in this, even I was talking to brothers last night, still believe that great tribulations is going to be 7 years. I'm like, man, you're going to get caught up in the middle of it. You keep talking about 7 years, you're going to get caught smack dab in the middle of it. Let's go, we at Daniel 12 and 1. Go ahead and read that.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people.
Go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time.
Now wait a minute. So now he says it's going to be such as never was since there was a nation. Didn't Jesus tell us this? It's going to be a time that has never been before and shall never be again. Now we're looking at that same time now. Go ahead and read.
Such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered. Everyone that shall be found written in the book.
Skip down to verse 4. Skip down to verse 4. Go ahead and read it.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. Now, even to the time of the end.
Now he said, and shut up the book and seal it to the time of the end. Now he's going to tell you when these wonders going to be. That at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which shall stand for children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Now he's going to tell you how long this going to last. This time of trouble. Go ahead and read. Read verse 4 again.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the word and seal the book, even to the time of the end.
Now we know this is the time of the end, don't we? Go ahead and read.
Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Go ahead.
Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood over two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? How long is this going to last? It's going to be a time of trouble since there was a nation and no ever shall be. How long is this going to last? Go ahead and read. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time. That's 1 year, ain't it? It shall be for a time. Go ahead. Times. That's 2 years. So how many years we got now? 3 years. Right? And what else? And a half. And a half. So how many years is that? 3.5 years. But don't take my word for it. Don't take Daniel's word for it. We're going to read it again in another book. We're going to read it in Revelation. So he said, look, and I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he had held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, 1 year times, that's 3 years and a half. That's 3.5 years. Go ahead and read. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. All these things shall be finished. But he said it's going to be for 3.5 years, didn't he? Let's go look at it again. Let's go to Revelation 11 chapter. Because he said, well, 2 or more witnesses are gathered in my name, let the matter be established, right? So now, we have Revelation 11. So we're going to read John. Going to tell you too. Revelation 11 and 1. Revelation 11 and 1. So Daniel told you for a time, times, and to divide the time. Now, John going to make it a little bit more clear. Revelation 11 and 1. Go ahead and read it. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. Go ahead. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not. Now he talking about the temple of the Lord. He talking about to measure this, right? He said, but the court that is without, measure not. Why? For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. The Gentiles going to tread the holy city for how long? 42 months. Well, how many years is that? 3.5 years, ain't it? Because remember, we waiting on this abomination of desolation spoken about Daniel prophet. We waiting on him to stand in the holy place, aren't we? We waiting on him to set up his palace in the glorious land, aren't we? So he said, look, the courtway that is without, don't measure it, for it is given unto the Gentiles to tread underfoot
40 and 2 months, and that is what? 3.5 years. Just like Daniel told you for a time. How long would these wonders be? For a time, times, and the dividing of time. That's 3.5 years, ain't it? And now John telling you the same thing, that it's going to be for 3.5 years. And that's how long great tribulations is going to last. Not 7 years, but 3.5 years. But where are the children of Israel going to be during this time, and the servants of God going to be during this time? And we do realize that some people are going to be martyrs, because we read that in Daniel, that some of those are going to be killed by the sword, some of them are going to go into captivity, right? So we do understand that. Well, where are the main servants of the Lord going to be at this time? You know, we did more the blowing of the trumpet. We showed you about the great tribulations and the blowing of the trumpets and all that, didn't we? We didn't show you what's going to take place with the children of Israel in the Lord's service, did we? So we're going to show you that today. We're going to show you where the Lord's people are going to be. And contrary to popular belief, like I said, they are not going to be in heaven. Let's go to Psalms the 91st chapter. Psalms 91. They are not going to heaven. We're going to prove that to you today. Psalm 91, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Psalm 91 and 1. Now look at this right here. God got a secret place for his people. A secret place. Psalm 91 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
So now we want you to read up some now. Read up loud.
I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress.
Go ahead.
My God, in him I will trust.
Now he said, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So God is the one that's doing this. You understand? Go ahead and read that verse 2 again. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust. Go ahead. We're going to trust in him, aren't we? We are going to trust in our God. Contrary to what everybody else is saying in the world, all these different religions are saying, we're going to trust in our God. Because he is God. Verse 3, go ahead. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. You know the fowler. He's the one who deals with the eagles, and they will deal with the birds. Right? He catches the birds and he deals with. He said, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. And from the noisome pestilence. Go ahead. That noisome pestilence, but that's the great tribulations that's going on now. All those horses and war equipment and shooting and battling and everything. That's the noisome pestilence. That's why he got a secret place for his people. Because of this noisy pestilence that's coming. Go ahead and read. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. Go ahead. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Just like an eagle stirreth up his nest and protect his young. This is how the Lord is going to do with his people. And I'm not just talking about Israel, because a stranger going to be with them. We got some spiritual Israelites in the family now, don't we? Gentiles, Asians, you name it, Mexicans, we got them all, don't we? Hamites, Edomites, a couple of them too, don't we? Go ahead and read. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Go ahead. See, he said you're not going to be afraid at this time. Remember that noisome pestilence? That war that's going on? He said, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by night. Because you're going to see all of these muzzle blasts and all of these war equipment, all of these rockets going off, all of these bombs going off. You're going to see all this in the wilderness. You can't help but to see it, because the whole world will practically be on fire. But the Lord going to have his people in a secret place. See, you know, your mainstream Christianity and Islam and Buddhism and all these other religions, they don't teach this. They don't know about this. Why? Because they're not dealing with the true and living God. We are dealing with the true and living God. So therefore, he said, you know what? I got a secret place for my servants.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
Go ahead and read. Look at what's going to happen. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
Go ahead, because the whole world is going to be in turmoil at this time. Everybody going to be warned. Remember we read in Joel the 3rd chapter during the time of the memorial blood of the trumpets. He said, look, I'm going to bring all nations down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. It's going to be war all over the earth. Go ahead and read.
1,000 shall fall at thy side.
Look at this. 1,000 going to fall at one side.
And 10,000 at thy right hand.
And 10,000 at your right hand. You gonna go ahead and read.
But it shall not come nigh thee.
He said, this not going to come near you. Ain't this something?
Yes. Thank you, Lord.
The Lord going to protect his people in his secret place.
Yes.
Now, you know, the God, he ain't dealing with Israel no more. Look like he going to be dealing with them right here, don't he? He dealing with the Gentiles. Gentiles don't teach this. They do not teach this. Go ahead and read. He said 1,000 going to fall over here. 10,000 going to fall on your right. But it shall not come near thee. Go ahead and read. Verse 8.
Only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked.
Go ahead. Look.
Because thou hast made the Lord.
Because thou hast made the Lord.
Which is my refuge, even the Most High. Thy habitation.
Go ahead. Because we have made him our habitation. That's why we're here on the Sabbath. Because we have made him our habitation. Go ahead and read verse 10.
There shall no evil befall thee. Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
Man, this is really something, ain't it? He said, but ain't no evil going to come near you.
Amen.
Now you keep on thinking that you're going to get raptured up to heaven and see how much evil going to come near you. But the Lord's service, he said, look, it's not going to come near you. I got a secret place for you. Now, let's go now. Let's go to Revelation 12 chapter. Revelations 12. Revelations 12 and 1. Revelations 12 and 1. And let's look at this secret place. Revelations 12, Revelations, 12 and 1. 12 and 1. Go ahead and read it. Let's look at this secret place. Go ahead.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now this dealing with Israel. Go ahead and read.
And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Go ahead.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now this talking about the Gentile dynasty. Go ahead and read.
And 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars from heaven. Of heaven. And did cast them to the earth.
Go ahead.
And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready.
Now who is the dragon? That's Satan, right? So look at how he going back and forth with generations. Now he said, and his tail drew a 3rd part of the stars of heaven. Now that happened in the beginning. When Satan got cast out, he took the 3rd part of the angels with him and fell to the earth. Then he said, and did cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered. Now who is this woman that's ready to deliver? Israel is ready to deliver this child. Who is this child? You know the Lord, he really, man, he's really a writer, isn't he? He make it so eloquent for you, boy. You know, if you understand it, you see how beautiful and eloquent he writes. He said, look, he went all the way from the beginning to the time of Jesus, and then he going to go past us. Look at this. He said, and he drew a 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and then cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered. Who is this woman? Keep reading.
For to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now who is this child that was ready to be devoured as soon as it was born? Keep reading.
And she brought forth a man child.
Stop right there. What man child was brought forth that was ready, Satan was ready to devour him? We talking about Jesus, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We're talking about the Lord. Go ahead and read.
Who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Hold it now. He's telling you what he's going to do in the future. He's going to rule all nations with what? The rod of iron. You don't do like I said, I'm going to beat you with this rod. I'm going to rule you with the rod of iron. Go ahead and read.
And her child was caught up unto God.
Look, he done went all the way past us now. He going past us. Keep reading. This woman was caught up. This child was caught up into God.
And to his throne.
Go ahead and read.
And the woman fled into the wilderness.
And the woman fled where?
Into the wilderness.
This the children of Israel fled into the wilderness. This is beyond us right here. Because the child was caught up to the throne of God. When was that? That was during the times of Jesus, right? Then he said, and the woman fled into the wilderness. When was this? This is coming. This is beyond us. Well, this is that secret place that the Lord gonna have his people to flee to. This woman, this is Israel. And the woman fled into the wilderness. Go ahead.
Where she hath a place prepared of God. That they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Now, how many years is that? 3.5 years. So we're dealing with the same time, the end time, aren't we? Same time Daniel told you about, John told you about it before. Now we're telling you about it again. Read that verse again, verse 6. Read it again.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God.
Go ahead.
That they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Now, how many years is that again? 3.5 years. So what time are we looking at? The times of great tribulations. This is what time we're looking at. And she's going to be in the wilderness for 3.5 years in the wilderness. This is that secret place where the Lord said, you're going to see the arrows not going to come by you. You understand? 1,000 going to fall over here, 10,000 to your right, but it's not going to come near you. Because you're going to be where? In the wilderness. Let's go now. Let's go look at this wilderness for a minute. Let's go to Isaiah the 41st chapter. Isaiah 41. Isaiah 41, and we're going to pick it up at verse 14. Isaiah 41 and 14. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
Fear not. Thou warned Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord.
He said, I'm going to help you. See, because God's not going to forget about his people. The ones that serving him. Go ahead and read.
Saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel.
Skip down to verse 17. Go ahead.
When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue fainteth for thirst, I, the Lord, will hear them.
Didn't he hear Moses in the time of the wilderness when he cried unto him and he turned those bitter waters sweet? So now he said, you know what? When the poor and the needy seek water and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, the Lord, will hear them. He talking about his servants. Go ahead and read.
I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them.
Just like he didn't forsake the children of Israel when they were in the wilderness of old. He didn't forsake them, did he? Go ahead and read.
I will open rivers in high places, and fountains in the midst of the valleys.
Go ahead.
I will make the wilderness a pool of water, and the dry land springs of water.
Do you see this? You look at what the Lord, this talking future right here. This talking, he said, I will open the rivers in a high place and fountains in the midst of the valley, and I will make the wilderness a pool of water.
And the dry land springs of water.
Go ahead.
I will plant in the wilderness the cedar,
the cedar,
the shittah tree, and the myrtle, and the oil tree.
Go ahead.
I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, the box tree, together.
Now look at what all of this was what he's going to do in the wilderness when the children of Israel flee into the wilderness. When that woman flee into the wilderness, look at what he's going to do. This is talking end time stuff right here. Verse 20, go ahead.
That they may see and know and consider and understand together.
Go ahead.
That the hand of the Lord have done this.
Who done this?
The hand of the Lord.
Who done this?
The hand of the
The
Lord.
hand of the Lord have done this. He is one that's going to bring the children of Israel to the wilderness and put fir trees and oil trees and all of these things. We're going to read some more that he's going to do. It's going to be a beautiful time, people.
Amen.
It's going to be a beautiful time. We're just waiting on. I hope I live to see it.
Amen.
Verse 20, read that again.
That they may see and know and consider.
Go ahead.
And understand together that the hand of the Lord hath done this.
Go ahead.
And the Holy One of Israel hath created.
And the Holy One of Israel hath created. Because if he started doing that now, they start putting all these fir trees and oil trees, and men would be right over there getting it, wouldn't they? They'd be setting up shop. So he gonna wait till the right time, and the woman gonna flee to the wilderness. And there he has a place prepared for us. Let's go now. Let's go look at it again. Let's go to Isaiah the 43rd chapter. Right on over to Isaiah the 40. Will you really understand about this, man? This is really beautiful. This is really beautiful. And may God have mercy on those who don't understand this and don't make it to the wilderness. Isaiah 43 and 15. Isaiah 43 and 15. Go ahead and read it.
I am the Lord, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King.
Ooh, you see that? He is the King of Israel. Talking about he don't have nothing to do with Israel no more. He is our King. He is our King and our God. Go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord, which maketh a way in the sea, and a path in the mighty waters.
Go ahead.
Which bringeth forth.
Now he did that when he took the children of Israel through the Red Sea, didn't he? He made a path for them. Can you imagine? You ever heard of any other God doing anything like this? Opening up the sea. Not only he did it through the Red Sea, but he did it with the Jordan too, during the times of Joshua. You ain't never heard of no other God doing nothing like this. Go ahead and read.
Which bringeth forth the chariot and horse, the army, the power. They shall lie down together.
Go ahead.
They shall not rise. They are extinct.
They are extinct. Go ahead and read.
They are quenched as tow. Remember ye not the former things?
Skip down to verse, you're already there now. Go ahead and read it. You read through, but go ahead.
Remember ye not the
I got too excited up here.
Neither consider the things of old.
He said, remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. I'm not going to do it the way that I did in the old days. You understand? Go ahead and read. What are you going to do?
Behold, I will do a new thing.
He said, behold, I'm going to do a new thing. Go ahead and read.
Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness.
Ooh. I will even make a way in the wilderness. Not going to heaven. I'm going to make a way. This is what the servants of God, this is what you're going to be brought to, the wilderness. The rest of the people, they just going to be standing there waiting on the rapture. That is sad, ain't it? You've been in church for 30, 40, 50 years, and you still waiting on a rapture. And your preacher still telling you going to be raptured up. But look at what the Lord said. I will even make a way in the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
And rivers in the desert.
And rivers in the desert. Look at this. We're dealing with the true and living God right here, aren't we? Go ahead and read.
20. The beasts of the field shall honor me. The dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness.
Go ahead.
And rivers in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen.
Ooh, don't look like he done away with Israel to me, do it? He said, my people, my chosen, and that includes spiritual Israel too, but most assuredly the children of Israel, though, right? Verse 21, what does it say?
This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise.
Now, let's go to Matthew the 6th chapter, because you know what? We say this all the time in our prayers, and people don't even realize what they're saying. Matthew 6 and 9. Look at what you be saying in your prayer. Matthew 6 and 9. 6 and 9. When you get it, go ahead and read it. 6 and 9. Go ahead.
After this manner, therefore pray ye. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Go ahead.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be
now,
done.
Now, stop right there. Now, wait a minute. He said, thy kingdom come, not you going. You understand? You read this, people say this prayer, call themselves Christians, say this prayer every day, and he's still talking about they going to heaven. He said, thy kingdom come, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Go ahead.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation.
Stop right there. And lead us not into temptation. What is he talking about? Lead us not into temptation. Lead us not into great tribulations. Because that is a temptation, and we're going to read that's coming upon the whole world. Lead us not into temptation. Lead us into the wilderness. Lead us into the wilderness, Lord. Amen. Into thy secret place. That's where we want you to lead us, Lord. Lead us not into temptation. Go ahead and read.
But deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from this evil, Lord, that is to come. Where not only are you going to have this man warring against each other in great tribulation, but you're going to pour out your wrath on this earth too, Lord. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from this evil that is to come. Go ahead and read.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Not these other gods, Lord. Amen. You are the king. Yes. Let's go now. Because he said, lead us not into temptation, didn't he? Let's go to Revelation 3rd chapter. Revelation 3. Because this is going to be a terrible time. And we want the Lord to lead us into the wilderness, not into temptations. Revelations 3 and 10. Revelations 3 and 10. Go ahead and read it.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience.
And we here have been keeping the word of his patience, haven't we? That's why we show up on the Sabbath. That's why we keep the feast days and everything. That's why we keep the Lord's dietary law. We know that we're not going to heaven because we have not been deceived by man. At one time we might have been deceived by man, but the Lord has opened up our eyes and we are not being deceived by man no more, are we? Read verse 10 again.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Well, how is he going to keep us from the hour of temptation? By sending us the woman fleeing to the wilderness. That's how he's going to keep you from the hour of temptation. Remember he said, look, the arrows going to be flying by day and by night, aren't they? Then he said, 1,000 going to fall over here and 10,000 going to fall over there, but it shall not come nigh thee. This is that hour of temptation. The great tribulation. Read that verse 10 one more time because somebody ain't paying attention to this. Somebody ain't been paying attention. Revelation, read it one more time, verse 10.
Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
Go ahead.
Which shall come upon all the world.
Which shall come upon all the world. I tell you, this world going to be like it's on fire. But the children of Israel, the Lord's servants, going to be in the wilderness. Finish that.
To try them that dwell upon the earth.
To try them that dwell upon the earth. If you don't make it here, it's going to be a free-for-all. It's going to be a free-for-all. Let's go now. Let's go to, you see how important this is that we understand what's going to happen during the times of great tribulations? It is important that we understand this, isn't it? Because we don't want to be the ones that's caught up in great tribulations. We don't know which way to go, and we standing there, and somebody standing there telling you that you're going to heaven. Meantime, the abomination of desolation is beating on your head. Let's go to Revelation. Let's go back to Revelation 12th chapter. We ain't got much longer to go. Revelation 12. Because we're going to deal with this some more. The coming of the Lord. That's what the ingathering or the Feast of Tabernacles is all about. We're dealing with the coming of the Lord again. That's what we're showing you now, where the children of Israel must go and where they must be during this time of tribulations. And I hope everybody is understanding this, because you don't want to mess this up. Revelations 12 and 13. Revelations 12 and 13. Go ahead and read it.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted a woman which brought forth the man child. Now
look how he's going back and forth. He went all the way back to the time when Satan got kicked out and everything. Then he went down to the times of Jesus. Go ahead and read.
14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
That she might fly into the wilderness,
into her place.
Into who place?
Her place.
Her place. This talking about Israel, right? The woman is Israel. Go ahead and read.
Where she is nourished for a time.
Where she was nourished. Because we saw the fir trees and the oil trees and the cedars and all that, didn't we? But you're going to see some more in a minute. He said, where she is nourished for a time,
In time.
Ain't this what Daniel said? Daniel told you to say for a time, that's 1 year, times, that's 2 years, so that's 3 years, right? What else?
And a half time.
And a half time, how many years is that? 3.5 years. You keep waiting on the 7-year tribulation and see what's going to happen. You're going to get caught right in the middle of it. He said, where she is nourished for a time, and and a half a time. Go ahead and read.
From the face of the serpent.
Go ahead.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Now look at Satan getting ready to come after. Look at who he coming after. He coming after the children of Israel. Now this is end time prophecy that we're reading about. Go ahead and read.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth.
Go ahead.
And swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Keep reading.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Which keep the commandments of God.
Ooh, which do what?
Keep the commandments of God.
Which do what?
Keep the commandments of God.
Keep the commandments of God. Why? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing now. What? Keeping the commandments of God. What's the 4th commandment? Keep my Sabbath. That's why we're showing up here. Everybody think we crazy. Y'all ain't no children of Israel. Well, how do we understand all this then? How do we understand all this? And then your mainstream religion, they are oblivious to this. How do we get to understand this then? He said, look, and the dragon, that's Satan, was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God,
and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
We believe in Jesus.
Amen.
People think y'all Israelites, y'all don't believe in Jesus. Man, I walk them all the way from Genesis to Revelations and show you Jesus. Let's go now. We're going back to Daniel. Let's go to Daniel, the 7th chapter. Because some of the saints are not going to make it into the wilderness. Some of the saints are not going to make it. Daniel the 7th, because he said the dragon was wroth with the woman. Look at what's going to happen to some of the saints. Let's go to Daniel the 7th chapter. Because some of them not going to make it. They understand. Because remember that remnant right there we just read about, the remnant of our seed? Look at what's going to happen to them. Daniel 7 and 24. So therefore, you want to be one of the ones that make it into the wilderness. You don't want to be the ones that got all